What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Nathan Scott Show. This is episode number 4, and joining me once again, I've got the boys back from SK Sports. What's up, Chris? What's up, Sergio?
What's up, guys?
What's going on, guys?
I am glad to be podcasting once again with you guys. I know last week it felt really good just to get back to, just talking sports. And, obviously we don't have sports right now due to the coronavirus, which has mysteriously disappeared from everyone's
break.
Yeah, it's like COVID took the far left bench and is warming it up while we a lot of people are protesting right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy out there right now. But before we get right into that core subject of what's going on in the United States right now, I want to see how you guys are doing. How are you guys doing? How's your week so far?
Sergio, you want to start?
It's been busy.
Busy?
I was telling you guys right now that I work with a glass company, so we've been doing a lot of board ups for broken glass or for just boarding up buildings, just making sure that, the companies are protected, the building's protected and stuff. So that's been this since Saturday. A bulk of it on Sunday, a little bit Monday, Tuesday. So we're already on Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. It's starting to kind of calm down, but that's my week. Busy. Get home, watch the news, and then on to the next day, basically.
Yeah. Well, I thought about you when, all this stuff started happening with the glass breaking, and I'm like, dang, Sergio's going to have a lot of cleanup and you don't have to worry about the cleanup, do you? Or
when the glass is broken, we do clean up. We clean up and then we board up and we get sizes and all that. Sometimes when we get lucky, they already have existing glass in the building.
Yeah.
And we just reinstall. But yeah, though Sunday we get double time. So whoever worked Sunday got like 20 hours a day. It was crazy, dude. I didn't take it. I didn't answer my phone. I kind of messed up, but
you didn't mess up.
Yeah, for all my coworkers, it was pretty badass. It was like a unity.
I've noticed a lot of places in West Covina have kind of been starting to like board up, like little mom and pop shops. So it's looking like we're gonna have a lot of cleaning and getting back to repairs pretty soon. But Chris, how's your week started off so far?
Been good, dude. Just been working. Monday, it's probably like the most eventful day. I think that was like the first day. We had some protesters pretty close by, and I think everyone got a little freaked out once. I don't know if you guys got those emergency warnings.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like an Amber Alert, but there were the curfew ones. Yeah.
So when I think we got those, and people started like kind of panicking. Like the owner just let everyone go early.
What time did you guys leave?
4.
Oh shoot.
Well, it didn't help that the curfews were like, the first one was at 6, and the next day for some reason it took an hour away. It was at 5 o'clock, and then now today we're at 9 o'clock. Like, okay, cool. I can go in and out late at night.
Different cities have them earlier. Like Beverly Hills was at 1 p.m. Santa Monica and Beverly Hills was like at 1 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I think those places are more active with the protesters and stuff.
Yeah, that's where they anticipate the most action, so they're gonna just utilize what force they have with the police. It's kind of hard right now. You know,
day in, day out. Let's see.
I noticed yesterday when I was going to an appointment, I noticed the 10 freeway right there, Barranca, where the In-N-Out is in West Covina. It was filled with people. The cops blocked off the little bridge, and you just see people cheering and chanting. So that's good to see that it was a peaceful protest.
They've been peaceful.
I always get scared though of that, like, the ones that are hanging over the freeway, like people are honking, like that could also cause a crash, but hopefully no one has, managed to get into a crash. But how you said you were close to one of the protests, Chris?
Yeah. Well, at work, it's pretty close by. It was right off like the 60 on Azusa.
Okay. All right. Yeah. After a few of the protests, a lot of like just activity started happening too. I noticed I started watching like a police chase right after it ended like on the 60 freeway in like near Hacienda Heights and stuff like that. So lots of things to definitely pay attention to. But
I have a friend.
Go for it.
I was gonna say when you said there was activity going on, I have a friend who said that her car got broken into in West Covina, and she was saying that the people who broke in. They were wearing scrubs, and that they were wearing scrubs because I guess because of the curfew, they were deemed essential workers because of their outfits.
Yeah.
And that's how they got away with walking around and driving around at night just because of the outfit that they were wearing. So that's something kind of like if the curfew keeps continuing and protests keep going on, that's something to look for in your town. If you see somebody in scrubs that you don't know and they look suspicious to
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, who knows what to do now? The police are busy as it is, so it's like
Yeah.
I mean, just keep an eye out, basically.
No, yeah, definitely. I think a good message to put out there right now, and I'm glad we're actually able to like podcast and this week and talk about this because it's kind of like also putting our stance on where we stand in opinion wise at this moment. But it's also good to like point out like the looters, like there should be no room for looting. Like we're trying to send a message here with peaceful protesting, and the looters are just like, for me, it's all about like also like how we're going to recover from COVID-19 if there is such thing as a COVID-19.
Yeah.
But also like damage wise of the cities, like what would you think? Like New York,
Santa Monica,
downtown Los Angeles, Santa Monica, certain places are really like messed up. Like,
well, downtown's not that bad.
It's not
the actual downtown area. No, because I drive around since the first maybe like since late last week, they've had the National Guard.
Yeah,
and
I think I noticed this. There was like an article that was saying that like that downtown Los Angeles is not like beat up that much because
it's protected.
It's already like scoped out like from the past riots where like they've learned how to like nip it in the butt.
Pieces.
Yeah. Like nip it in the butt basically. So yeah, I would say if you are protesting out there, like try to like record the people who are being like dummies, like I've seen a video of one of the protesters who was peacefully protesting recording the whole situation. I think it was like Long Beach or like, well, I'm not too sure of the actual city that it was in, but somebody propped up a old cop car and people set it on fire, and they and this guy that's recording the whole time, he broke down the whole video that like these people were all covered in like you can only see just their eyes, but other people where they had like masks on, their faces were still kind of visible. He was breaking down the video to the point of where like he knew that these people were working together to light this car on fire and start like this controversy. Like, so you gotta know the difference between like the people who are peacefully protesting and the people who are just out there to loot and do destruction, because it's kind of a sucky situation that you have one overshadowing the other,
Yeah.
I know there's certain groups that are infiltrating like the protests and they're doing shit like that. I don't know if it's to incite one side or the other.
Yeah.
I think one of the groups is Antifa.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, man, shit like that is just, it makes everything messy because it kind of takes away from the message, man. Because, most of the people are peacefully protesting, and then you get a couple bad people doing fucked up shit, and then, then it becomes more controversial when it shouldn't really be.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the most part, you can separate the protests into two parts as far as like, once the curfew hits, that's when like everything before that was protest, and everything after that is just it's different groups of people that come out to take advantage of the protesting and the situations. They know the group of people that are protesting the right way are getting attention from cops, and then that's when they're out in different parts of the city vandalizing and doing all that stuff. So like all that bad stuff I don't think it's protesters to say. It's more just it's just the bad people that aren't I want to say they don't care about Black Lives Matter or like that movement, but it's more that they're just taking advantage of a situation where it's where chaos could erupt, and I mean you see it everywhere. It happened in New York because, well, at that point it was different too because the cops were told not to do anything. That's another thing too. It's like some situations the cops are told not to do anything, let it die down, and now it's to the point where it's like they did it once, and now the army's involved and National Guard's involved, and cops are full throttled. So it's each day it's getting different. The situations are getting different. Curfews are changing. Like you guys said, I mean, it's like the way they crack down. It all really depends on who's the one that throws the first punch and why it gets chaotic. Is it cops that are being more aggressive, pushing them away, or is it protesters that are throwing the first punch?
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you guys been really keeping close eyes on it? Like I've been kind of keying in on like certain Twitch channels that are live streaming of protesters, kind of seeing the difference between the Twitch streamers being out there from the news reports from Fox 11, from Channel 5, like seeing different perspectives, trying to just understand, because personally, like I'm not out there. I would like to be out there. Well, and in all truth of the aspect here, like I'm still scared for my life in the sense of I'm a type 1 diabetic and going out there, I'm still really fearful of the coronavirus. Like, I've been feeling like this since it hit, and that I had to been going back and forth to work from time to time. I've been like really scared for my life, because that's one of my biggest worst fears right there is getting a virus or dying of becoming really, really sick. But at the same time, like I see my Black brothers and sisters out there being affected by something that has been affecting them for way too long. And, everyone is suffering right now. It's to see Steven Jackson, former NBA player, be really hurt because he was really close friends with him, that he called him his twin. He spoke upon the matter, along with his wife, George Floyd's wife, and his daughter, that they had a press conference the other day. So it's really heartbreaking. And you know what? We should have stated this in the beginning of the podcast, but there's breaking news today. We have news that's good, and it's the start of something, but we have to still be skeptical and see where this leads when it comes to being in court. But breaking news that Derek Chauvin's charges have been increased to a second-degree murder. All the Minneapolis police officers have now been charged as of Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020.
Yeah. That's good news.
Yeah. So from, hearing this news now, today, how do you guys think these next couple of days should go? Like personally, I think hopefully we can continue to protest and still get our frustration and our anger out. But now it's time to, take a step back and see how we can change the laws in our favor. I noticed that the NAACP put out some things. I can kind of preach on it before you guys give your input real quick. It's kind of what people are demanding, a ban on the use of knee holds and choke holds as an acceptable practice for police officers, which I've actually seen more videos during the protest of police officers doing that tactic. And it scares me, because since seeing that George Floyd video, it's actually been a little bit traumatic to see, that happen once again, The use of force continuum for any police department in the country must ensure that there are at least 6 levels of steps with clear rules on escalation. Each state's Open Records Act must ensure officers' misconduct information and disciplinary histories are not shielded from the public. Recertification credentials may be denied for police officers if determined that their use of deadly force was unwarranted by federal guidelines. And lastly, the implementation of citizens review boards and municipalities to hold police departments accountable and build public confidences. Yeah, so those are some things that people are, they're asking for, and I can see why we would want to implement some of those.
It's sad that it never was implemented, all those rules that they're trying to get implemented.
Yeah. So we're trying to, that's what people are asking for. So that's what I'm saying. Going forward, now that we hear the news that these guys are being charged, well, hopefully, we still have to see what holds up in court, but it's now time to take for me, in my eyes, I mean, maybe in the Black community's eyes, that they want to continue to, protest. That's fine. I'm cool with it. But for me, I think it's now it's time to take the next steps to text, because there is a lot of, as you can say, rules and laws that we still don't even really know about that kind of affect people, you know?
Yeah.
But what do you guys think in the upcoming weeks?
I don't. The verdict. I mean, that they raised the charges and they charged the other 3 officers today, and but there's still protests going on. And then right now, actually, we were watching it before we started doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my girlfriend were watching on the news that there's like hundreds of people outside of City Hall in downtown LA, and they're outside the DA, the district attorney's office. What was her name again? I forgot her name. I just kept hearing her name. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But they're outside her office right now. I don't know if they're trying to get her to quit or to resign or they're protesting outside her office. I think they want her out of there. I forgot what her name was now. But I mean, that's something new that happened today, right? But actually, it's not new because they've been doing it for like every Wednesday for like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
A group of I think they said it was Black Lives Matters. They've been out protesting for like the last 2 years every Wednesday to get her to resign, and now the votes are coming in and they're going to try to get her out of there. So that's
for
one
LA?
new thing that's happening. What was that? What happened?
Is this for LA?
Yeah, for LA, the district attorney.
Why is that? Like, was there like some events we don't know about, or?
I guess we're just seeing that she's the first female African American DA for the city, and I think people just see that nothing's changed for somebody of from her background, you know, being a minority and a female to be one of the first ones. Like, they haven't seen change in the city, and then even like I guess they've been trying to like get her to act upon all the prior events that have happened for the city or even around the country, and she doesn't do anything about it. And so that's something that's going on like right now. That even though like, and I asked my girlfriend too. I'm like, what do you think's gonna like make the protest stop? You know, what's gonna be the one thing that collectively everyone that's protesting right now is gonna be like, all right, like we're done for now. And she said she doesn't know. And it's like, yeah, I thought it was gonna be those 3 other officers getting charged, and the protests are still going on. I think they're still gonna be going on for a while. Oh, her name's Jackie Lacey, district attorney.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, she makes a lot of money, dude. Oh no, she takes care of a lot of money.
Do you think that we have to kind of wait until like more police officers turn in their badge who shouldn't be there? You know, like that's the questions we've been asking for the past, you know, since Ahmaud Arbery, since Breonna Taylor, you know, like these people who have lost their lives. I mean, not just obviously Ahmaud Arbery, that it was a former police officer, but you know, it's still harsh.
Did you guys hear about the LA chief of police or the comments that he made?
Yeah, people are asking for him to step down. I remember watching a live YouTube stream, and Tony Hawk called in.
Yeah, Tony Hawk called in.
Yeah, Tony Hawk called in.
And there's some pretty like.
People were harsh on him.
They're going hard, yeah.
It's because
like
Oh yeah, I did. They said suck my dick or something, right?
Yeah, they did. So that was for 30 seconds. He went off for 30 seconds. But yeah, see, like I mean, there's so much. I think they see change is like, and the sad part is like, I mean, dude, George Floyd died like a week ago.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That whole incident happened like last Monday, I think, and it's like it took them this long to charge the other 3 officers, and they see that protesting is it's doing something. It's not like it's not. I don't know what it is about it this time.
All 50 states, all 50 states protested.
Yeah. Not even that. Just other countries. I think Japan, England.
Yeah,
like they're protesting everywhere.
Yeah, other places as well.
Yeah, it's bigger. It's bigger than it was, and it's sad to say that. You know, it's 2020 and it's taking a life of its own. This whole movement. I mean, and it's like, yeah, you're right. When like I said, when's it gonna stop? And not in a bad way, but like I mean, when is protesting? And is it gonna stop? I don't think it will, but maybe not in this magnitude. But I mean, there's gonna be people that are still protesting for change in police departments, not just in LA.
I think for the amount of change that they're protesting for, I don't think it's gonna happen overnight. To be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, and I think people can also learn from I believe I forgot where else they're protesting. I think it was China or
yeah.
Hong Kong. They've been protesting. I remember they were protesting. It was on the news for quite some time, and now they're like people are asking, "Oh, are they still protesting?" Yeah, they're still protesting to this day. We're getting tips and tricks, pictures from their riots on how to dress and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's brutal. It's brutal. But Chris,
they have it bad.
Chris, give your input on that last question. On when do you think this will end, and we'll move on to the next topic.
Fuck, man, it's hard to say. To be honest, dude, I'm not sure. I mean, the good news is the officers were charged, all of them now. Hopefully, this at least will be in a step in the right direction to, take away some of that fuel from violence from either side. Maybe there's slightly less outrage now. Just to stop the violence, at least. I'm all for protesting. It's part of our rights, but destruction, and looting, like, not to say that the protesters are all doing that, but after this coronavirus lockdown 3 months, you got to think this has affected like small businesses more than anyone, and a lot of them are gonna have to come back to just fucking their business destroyed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, man. I can't really give you an answer on that.
Well, it seems that a lot of people have obviously their opinions are being splurged out at the moment. But before we get into our next topic, I'd like to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back after this quick little break. Alrighty, and we are back from that quick little break. We had to fix some Zoom settings real quick. But jumping back into the conversation, well, first off, thank you for sending that video, Chris, because that brings up one thing that I did want to talk about a little bit. Chris, on the break, sent us a link of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kind of giving a little speech, and I feel him in that speech. I wanted to get you guys' opinion on that because I've been kind of like thinking like our president, not my president, but president of the United States, who goes by the name of Donald Trump, has been kind of like being distant lately. He's not been like answering everyone's questions, or he's been saying stupid shit on Twitter. This isn't what I expect of the president at this time. Like, actually, I've been fooled today. I was fooled today thinking that people were tweeting in the morning that Barack Obama was going to talk earlier today at 5:00, but I don't think I saw anything about that happening.
I didn't see it either.
But thinking of, Barack Obama, just Barack Obama, in my opinion, like, in times of need of having a president there to, comfort us with his words, telling us that it's going to be okay is needed. And we're not getting that with Donald Trump. I just wanted to get you guys' feelings on that.
Did you guys see that video of the protesters in DC?
Yeah.
They got shot at with, they got like ran off the park with like rubber bullets and tear gas.
Yeah.
And then immediately after, Donald Trump's walking down because he wants to take a picture and do a little speech in front of the church. And he holds the Bible backwards and upside down.
What?
You guys didn't see that?
I did.
He's holding a Bible upside down and backwards. You can't even see where it says the Bible on it.
Bro.
And people are saying like, what? Like, people would have dragged Obama. I mean, they're dragging Trump too, but it's like people who support Trump, they don't see his bad. When he's asking, he's tweeting about like that governors take care of the mess. He's like, oh, the governor of New York or the governor of Minnesota, it was one of those two states where, when the riots were getting bad, he was like, I expect you guys to take care of this. And it's like, that's like your supervisor or your boss telling the supervisor to take care of your mess when it's like, when it like directly involves him,
Dude,
I think like, there's no leadership.
I think that's like the biggest problem we have in this country right now is this is a little off topic, but I think once everyone picks their side, like we can't get anything done, bro, because it's just like fighting in between each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the
You know,
back and
it's like,
forth.
we should not focus about. We can't ignore the wrongs that each side has. Like, we can't just sweep that under the rug and be like, it's okay, he's not that other guy or that other person, because then we end up with shitty fucking people in office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't just pick people just because they're on our side, you know?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
We got to pick people who are for us and for the community. And I think honestly, a lot of like, like representatives are being like thrown under the bus at this moment for, not supporting when they should support.
Yeah.
But, it's tough times when you have a president who is kind of ignorant to the fact that people are hurting right now.
He has a bunch of yes men around him.
Yeah.
That's just stopping him from being like a human being and knowing right from wrong. It's like that picture they have of the White House just in black.
Oh
The
yeah.
lights are turned off and he's hiding in his bunker or whatever that whole meme is. It's like, it's true. It's like, that's gonna be his lasting image, is like when the country needed him most, like he wasn't in office. And it feels like he's not in office. It feels like the country's being ran by just a robot.
Yeah.
There's no emotion. There's no connection to this president. I mean, everybody had a connection to, like Obama. Like, I think our generation's gonna be able to remember him because it's just like a lasting impression that he's gonna leave. And with Trump, it's like, it's just a stain on the history books.
Yeah, it's difficult right now. It's definitely difficult, but as everyone kind of voices their opinions, the people are getting attacked differently too. I mean, we can kind of look at the situation that's arrived today with Drew Brees speaking on the matter.
Mm-hmm. That's just another thing right there of people not knowing when to speak or not thinking about what they're gonna say in the situation.
Yeah.
Letting emotions run and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, we're in 2020. It's like people still don't know how to people still don't know what to say at what time.
Yeah, like the girl that's getting like flack for saying like that all animal lives matter and Black Lives Matter are like kind of like the same thing, and they're definitely not the same thing. And I wanted to definitely talk to you guys about that people are getting attacked for saying all lives matter, and at this moment of time you shouldn't be saying that. If you understood, you really don't understand if you continue to say all lives matter, because at the moment this is not about all lives, this is only about Black lives, and things need to change. And it's unfortunate that people don't get it in their noggin, that they can just get over the fact, you just get over yourself. Like, at what point can you get over yourself to put your feelings aside of just saying this just so it's because it's right? It's just mind-boggling that people can continue to say that.
I mean, you're right. You're definitely right about that. It's like, at this moment in time, we definitely need to be compassionate, and I think saying that is, I don't want to say it's, well, I guess it's a bit standoffish in the sense of saying, this movement isn't as important as you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's basically when someone says all lives matter, you're basically just which is always what's happening, with the Black community. It's always like your voice is being is overstepped on, it's being pushed down and being ignored. You're saying Black Lives Matter, and then someone says all lives matter, it's basically saying shut up. Like, it doesn't matter about your opinion. Like, at the end of the day, like, all lives matter. And you're right, it's just problematic. They start saying all lives matter, and they say in a way where it's almost like they know they're going against you. So that's when like the person's like you were saying, Chris, it's like it's either right or wrong. No, not right or wrong, but it's either left or right. Blue or red. There's no in between. So somebody can't be pro cops and pro Black Lives Matter. That's the way. That's why they say all lives matter.
Which is it's like bullshit, though. I mean, you definitely can. Everyone knows, dude. I guarantee you, like, hell, I don't know. I feel like 98% of people in this country that saw that video knew that shit was fucked up.
No, everyone. This is the thing too, that like I think everyone realizes it, that
Yeah.
that cop was in the wrong. Even I'm sure even like bad cops in their right mind, they would know that was like fucked up. Like you don't do that, you know. But
I
at
mean,
this time, it's kind of just weeding out the bad cops at the moment and
Mm.
still having faith in the police. I know people were trying to say defund the police, but you're going to want at least a little bit of police in your life when your life is being threatened, you know?
bro, that's a fucking terrible idea. I just gotta say that.
The defunding the police?
It's so stupid, dude.
Yeah. Like
I
I
get
get it.
everyone's emotional, but you can't like say like what the fuck are we gonna do when like someone breaks into your house? Like
Wait,
what's gonna
but
happen?
does defunding mean like completely not funding the police at all, or does it mean just a lesser percentage?
Well, I don't know. They can honestly. I think a better way to say it would be maybe they should have more fucking like I don't know, background checks, all kinds of shit. Like if you have a certain amount of strikes, like that dude should not be a cop anymore. He had so many strikes on him before he did this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they should have way less tolerance for shit like that.
But
That's
do you guys know how much percentage of the funds in LA go to police officers or the police department?
I don't.
54%.
Okay.
So it's like, I mean, like I
Almost
think
half.
when people say defund the police, I'm not, I can't really speak too much on it. I don't know what percentage you're talking about, or you're talking about just completely defunding it. Its own like what is it like charity? Is that what it is? Like self. I don't even know what I'm looking for here, but like I don't know if it's mean just to defund them as in like a smaller percentage that they take away from the city, or completely defund them. If it's completely defund, I mean that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Taking away police in general is pretty bad.
I think it's too early to jump to stuff like that to like completely defund. It's kind of like the video of the guy who drove by the car who he read the sign wrong and it said defund the police, but it said he thought it said something else, so he like snatched the sign out of this girl's hand and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you were for the police. Here you go. Here's the sign back." That's kind of what I'm thinking of it as right now. People are jumping; they want things quickly.
Yeah. That is the one thing they're asking for. Like, I mean, like you said though, I mean, it's like, are they asking for too much, or like, is it just
no? That it's not that they're asking for too much. It's that it's like everyone is so hysterical at this moment. It's like we need to just like figure this out. Like it needs to be done now because it's been happening since freaking slavery. Like the Black community has been affected like tremendously. People have lost their lives. It's to the point where it's enough. And we have the whole world behind us, and we could weed out the racist in the world. It's pretty much the racist versus everyone, and I'm for it because Black Lives Matter. And I'm glad that I have this. I really haven't been like doing much. I mean, I'm going to be donating soon to one of the charities. I've been thinking of donating to one of the charities titled Therapy for Black Women, I believe. I'm still doing my research because I kind of want to pick a charity special to the matter that is going to go forward to good hands. So I'm really doing my research with the donations, but I'm doing my part in posting on Instagram and reposting stories and stuff like that. So like I haven't been like too much vocal, but at the same time, I kind of, want to utilize my platform for podcasting, having discussions with you guys, or having discussions with people that I know in my life. I know one of my friends, Lamar, is very vocal about this, and he was very vocal on his Instagram. And I told him, hey, you're free to come on the podcast and speak your mind, And so maybe we're going to do that. And I'm just grateful that I have the podcast platform to kind of spread the word. And that's kind of what I want to do, like there's a lot of people who may be confused, and hopefully they're not confused. Maybe my supporters won't be confused, but on ways to support. I mean, you can support by supporting Black owned businesses, amplifying Black voices of the movement. So like, for example, like I follow so much black celebrities and black people in the industry on IG. It's just a matter of reposting their voice, letting their voice be heard,
If you want to help, like, honestly, social media is the easiest way. You could go on anybody's page and people put on their stories like links. Like the link you sent yesterday the other day to us about the one where you swipe up and you send the letter out.
Yeah,
all your information. All you gotta do is put your name.
My friend Lamar sent me that one, and I was grateful for that. And it's basically an email that is already generated for you, but you just input your name and your city of where you're from, and you just hit send, and it sent it to the police station in Minneapolis. But I did get a response from them at 3:30 today saying that their mailbox is just overloaded, and it's just like it wasn't going to get a response. So I mean, obviously we're jacking up their system. Obviously everyone did their part in being vocal, and we're taking the next steps to see where these officers will land, hopefully in jail and beat up severely. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But I mean, other than just being vocal about it, it's just kind of keeping an eye out there. I mean, that's the best we can do. If we see someone fucking being racist, or I think the one thing that I really wanted to be vocal about, and I kind of wanted to save this for the conversation with me and my friend Lamar, but the one thing that kind of like really hurt me a lot when watching the video is that like we're so quick to record the situation, but maybe in that time, in that 9-minute span, like you can get enough people to agree that shouldn't be happening, and then you guys can overpower the cops. I mean, personally, that's what I would have wanted to do. Obviously, we get this sick situation where 4 cops can easily turn on a crowd of people and start shooting, but that's not what we want. But it's just a matter of just figuring out how we can take care of this in the future, making sure that people are just taking the proper steps and getting rid of all the bad cops. And I know everyone kind of wants to say what they want to say, and like we were just saying, like kind of not thinking through of what you want to say. And Drew Brees, it's kind of like now the sports world is kind of like reacting to what Drew Brees said,
Yeah, no, it's like what you were saying like earlier. It's like, we used to do a sports podcast, and sports took a break because of COVID, and it's like, but like sports never takes a break from the real world, So even if we still kept doing a sports podcast during this whole COVID, like, I mean, every single week there's stuff to talk about, and especially now with sports people becoming more proactive in politics and all that stuff. I mean, it opens up to talk about both politics, sports, and anything else in between, and it takes the time. It's somebody who's honestly, it's I don't think it's taken in the wrong context. I think he's just showing his true colors and letting his emotions get to him, speaking out like that. And that's the way he truly feels. I don't want to say he's racist or anything like that, but
I don't think Drew Brees is racist either. I mean, I think it's maybe just one of those incidents where people want to speak on a matter, and it just comes across to the world that is different, that I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. Let me just tell you what I see and what I feel when the national anthem is played and when I look at the flag of the United States, Brees said. So it's kind of like he's making statements going back to like, Kaepernick, but which if I'm on someone's side here, I'm on Colin Kaepernick's side all the way, and I've been on his side since he's been kneeling. I've been to an actual freaking 49er Rams game where he's kneeled and people were screaming and yelling at him disgustingly. Like I've seen that happen before in front of my eyes, and it's disgusting. And I supported Cap all the way, and it's just so crazy to see now how everyone's kind of like quiet on Cap now after he, was kneeling for something bigger than him.
Yeah.
But I mean, Michael Thomas has spoke up on Drew Brees. He's a teammate of Drew. He said he don't know no better. That's exactly what he said. A lot of people are hurt. I mean, even LeBron James. Wow, man, it's a surprise. Is it still surprising at this point? Sure isn't. You literally still don't understand why Cap was kneeling on one knee. It has nothing to do with being disrespectful about the flag. And I understand what LeBron is saying at this point, because it's like, we live in the United States of America, the land of the free, where if we need to take a knee and represent a message that is far beyond, then so be it, because that's what America's all about. Speaking your mind and being vocal and standing up for what you believe in. And it's just crazy that all these so-called Americans are against someone who is just taking a knee during the national anthem to prove to stand up for his people. And all I'm saying going forward is
saying that,
yeah,
do you think, like, obviously what Drew Brees said is fucking just horrible timing, and
it's horrible timing for sure.
For sure. I mean, you could even say it's fucking ignorant for sure. But I mean, do you think what you just said with the whole freedom of speech thing? I mean, he just shot himself in the fucking foot, but I mean, it's his right to do that shit too, and I think he should at least hold, he should respect others at least their right to do the same.
No, yeah. Everyone does have, free speech. I did just say that, and Drew Brees did get a chance to speak his light. But I think going forward, going back to how, like, if people decide to say all lives matter, obviously they're missing the point. But matching those two up together, it's basically saying that, like, you got to kind of think before you say, and you got to know of the consequences before you say them. Yeah. You better know the kind of backlash you're going to get now in the world of social media, and where your voice is heard and it is amplified more than ever. You just have to be conscious about it. Be polite, be kind. If you feel, if you have that racist thought in your head, just fucking shove it up your ass and keep it to yourself. It doesn't need to be said, like,
whoa, mate.
No, that's it's.
No, he's right though.
It's been frustrating.
You're scaring me.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's been frustrating. It sucks. It sucks.
Well, the thing about Breeze, man, is it's like the thing that irks me the most is when he says, "I can never agree with anybody who disrespects the flag." Like, that means he doesn't agree with Colin Kaepernick and the way he feels about police brutality on black people. He basically just shot himself in the foot.
Did he mention Kaepernick specifically, or are we just like?
No, he didn't mention Kaepernick specifically.
I don't think he mentioned Kaepernick, but I mean, like, are you going to read between the lines, or?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Kaepernick's right. He's back in the news, I mean, he doesn't have to say Kaepernick's name.
Yeah.
Like, because then we're basically just saying, oh no, it's okay. Then, like, we don't want to jump to conclusions, but I mean, why would he say that during this time? About the one person in the NFL who disrespected the flag. And that's another thing, too. It's like, who said that kneeling for an anthem was disrespectful? Was it just because he had meaning to him kneeling, or was it because it's in the rules that it's disrespectful? I always wondered that. I'm always like, is it something that people just made up, or is it really disrespectful?
From what I was taught, even if you have to take your hat off too, or that's disrespectful.
Yeah, during the national anthem. I think going forward, people just need to stop being so offended about what other people are doing, or it's just, we're so critical about each other, and we're so divided. I honestly just don't know where we're going in the next couple of weeks, but I hope for everyone's sake that you try to focus on family, and obviously be a part of something bigger than yourself. Like, obviously the black community is hurting right now. They've been hurting for hundreds of years, and it's crazy to see them affected this much. And I am proud to see a lot of other allies out there supporting the black community. I saw some dudes,
Latinos, whites, every other
whites,
race.
Yeah, man, every other race. And it's just like I said, it's racist.
Is it weird that it feels good when you
everyone.
see like an older white person like protesting, and like just like I saw a video the other day of I think it was on Twitter. My girlfriend showed it to me. Of some like older white man, where the lady asked him, she's like, "Oh, how do you feel about all these protests?" Oh, it was when they were outside of Garcetti's house like a couple days ago, and they stopped the old white man, and they're like, "Oh, how do you feel about all these protests here in your neighborhood?" He was like, "I'm happy. It's beautiful to see all this." He's like, black people have been going through, like, he just went on and like was naming facts out, and he's like, "Oh, it's like, what do you expect? When like they've been going through all this stuff for years, blah blah blah." And he was going on, and I was like, "Dang, man! Like, it's so cool to see." Because I don't see you don't see that often, but it's so good to hear how educated and informed older white people are that weren't always taught, to be open-minded. I feel like in the time, I know a lot of people that, even like just speaking to them for a bit, that they grew up thinking racist,
Yeah.
and it's always refreshing to see. Like, I mean, we were saying the other day about about catching racism out and not recording and stopping it, right? I mean, during this whole during the protest when they first started going on, like last Saturday, I went to go get Chinese food, and there was just some like weird tension between the two people in front of me that were like talking to the Asian lady in front of me, and I was waiting to like go off on one of them just because I could like hearing their voices like kind of like annoyance and like a little bit of ignorance, and I was like, oh man, like I swear I'm about to pop off on one of these guys right now. Luckily, like it didn't escalate. It was just more like it was just their tone that was kind of annoying me.
Yeah.
But it was just something like they have no patience, and I was like, oh man, like I swear, man, like if somebody says anything racist right now, I'm gonna just go off on these guys. Right now, tensions are high, man.
No, yeah, I think yeah, that's really brave of you, and I think a lot of people wouldn't interfere. I think that's going forward. You really have to decide if you want to interfere in things like that, and if you stand with the Black community that's hurting right now, that's really brave. A lot of people are against it, and those people happen to be racist, and like I said, racist versus everyone. And let's
to be fair, I think we should talk about a cop's perspective. Just because I think this, to me at least, this is like again, I'm not saying those fuckers deserve any chances whatsoever, the guys that murdered Floyd, but I personally have a couple friends that are cops and their dads, and I think I've been talking to some of them, and I know this is kind of like a taboo subject right now.
Go for it.
But I don't know. I feel like we can't blame. This has been going on for a long time. Sure.
Yeah.
Not making any excuses for them whatsoever. But fuck, I sound like a fucking lawyer now. But what I'm trying to say is we can't just pin. We can't blame every single cop out there. There's too many. Yeah. There's too many good ones also.
Yeah.
No,
I hear you, and
you ramble on just to say that.
No, I know he wants to say more, but you just got to tread lightly of what you say. But look here, I hear you. Look, not all cops are evil. Not all cops are racist. But to let everybody know who wants to be a cop or who is a cop, you signed up for the job. It's one of the hardest jobs ever, where you have to be alert, conscious, and make smart decisions right on the dot. No one's going to blame you for making little mistakes, but where people have control, where if they have 4 cops against one person who happens to be Black, you have to put 2 and 2 together and know that what's right and wrong. And for those who want to be cops, it's not the easiest job. It's a job that you have to protect the community and stand up for what's right, and protecting protecting the community and making sure that their health is well, and that they're not in fear, and not putting them in fear is what we have to.
Hell, dude, all first responders, that has to be the hardest jobs on the fucking planet. You gotta think about when coronavirus first hit. Think of all those nurses and doctors. Those people, dude, I don't think they get paid nowhere near enough. Like, we all praise celebrities and actors and athletes, but dude, these guys don't get paid shit for what they do, to be honest with you.
No, I agree. I agree. And, just going forward, you have to realize that first responders are taking a risk on their own lives. And yeah, you're right. Those people have to be paid, but in order for them to be paid an accurate amount for, their job well done, they have to be performing it to 100% respectability. There has to be no corruption, but there is corruption in police, situations, or the situations where I think of, like the place Beyond the Pines, where Bradley Cooper spoke up on a situation where there was just money being tossed under the table. It's like cops are afraid to tell on their partners because, then they'll be affected, and who knows God what of a gang way, So, I mean, people think of cops as one of the biggest gangs, but we have to realize that it's weeding out the bad ones. And that, with that being said, let's all get our last input here. And I mean, I want to kind of close this episode out by just saying that, a lot of people are hurting right now. And I look forward to just putting out what I can of information to help the Black community and wherever I can help. So
I want to say, I guess like this last week, it's opened up, I think, more people's eyes that racism is still in this country. And I think for some reason, like, I don't know, this week, the George Floyd's death has, like, I think for a lot of people, it's been the most eye-opening, because it was probably one of the most brutal deaths that I've seen as far as, like, cop on minority, situation. So it's like, I think the words I want to go with is, just because the situation doesn't affect you doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, cops are nice to you doesn't mean all cops are nice, or just because no one's ever been racist to you or doesn't discriminate you for your ethnicity or your skin color, it doesn't mean millions of others don't go through that in the country. We live in Southern California. We're not a minority. Latinos are not a minority. If anything, maybe, actually, who even knows what the percentage is. But we're not a minority here. So if you go to Alabama, like, you're going to be a minority, and that's where you're really going to see racism. That's where you're really going to be able to see where everybody else is talking about as far as racism goes. And honestly, we won't even. I mean, Chris, you're fucking Mexican. You look more white than me and Nate both put together. So like, we'll never understand true racism.
That is racist.
Motherfucker. And just today, I went to go get groceries. I think I look darker now because I've been working in the sun a lot. The guy called me Güero still, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I still
really?
Like, he called me Güero, and I was like, I get called Güero a lot, but I was like, okay, I'm pretty dark skinned right now. He's not. No one calls me Güero anymore.
Yeah,
the guy still called me Güero.
Motherfucker.
And I'm just like, man, I'm like, do people really still think I'm white or not Mexican? It's like I said, we're never gonna know. I'm never gonna be pulled over by a cop and fear for my life, man. And it's like
feeding off of what you said, Serge. It's all about perspective, and when
empathy over sympathy.
Exactly. When you open your mind to putting yourself in, like the saying goes, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, it really opens up your perspective. And I think that's what a lot of white folks need to do, because they seem to be afraid of a lot of the Black community, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Chris?
Closing thoughts. I think we got to get past this as a country for sure. A lot of positivity coming out from this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's kind of hard, man. There's so much shit that's like going through my mind.
Yeah.
Say it. Say what you feel.
Serge is a fucking giant bitch. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I think we'll get through this, man. Because, we are going through a hard time in this country for sure. Just this whole year, it's been fucking shit. Yeah. But we are fucking lucky to live here, and there's, I honestly, I think there's way more good people here than there is bad. So I think there'll be brighter days.
I feel it. Well said, Chris. I did actually want to, in the beginning part of the podcast, I did want to share a film that I watched. So I know I didn't get a chance to share this, so I'll end with this on today's podcast. I just want to share a documentary. If anybody has Hulu out there, I highly recommend Jiro, Dreams of Sushi. And I was actually eating sushi when I watched this documentary. I ordered from Sushi Damu, which was really cool.
Sushiholics.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't know where to get good sushi from, so I'll take any place. But I really resonated with what he said. Jiro is just an older man who has been making sushi for quite some time, and he's like the well-respected. He's like the Michael Jordan of sushi creating, right? Like, so a lot of people have respect for him. Like you have to like order, like you have to like schedule in advance to go to his restaurant, like a month in advance. But the thing that really resonated with me when he said this was, and I quote him. He said, once you decide your occupation, you must immerse yourself in your work. You have to fall in love with your work. Never complain about your job. You must dedicate your life to mastering your skill. That's the secret to success. And I really liked that because he's completely true. He's completely right. Like if you have a passion in this world and you can, make some money off of it with the type of currency, a revenue coming in, as long as you master your craft and apply yourself and stay to it every single day, I think you'll get there. So just a little bit of words of wisdom for everybody there. And I think that wraps up this episode of the Nathan Scott Show. Chris, Sergio, I appreciate you guys for coming on again. I'll have to have you guys stop by again once sports gets rejuvenated. Obviously, the NBA is coming back, as we can see, but we won't go too much into that conversation. We want to leave the listeners thinking, will there be sports? I don't know. Pay attention to social media. All right, guys. Thank you guys for your time.
All right, thank you, Nathan, for having us.
See you guys.
I'll see you guys later.
All right,